In this video, I want to begin introducing you to Google Analytics. This is the industry standard way of determining what is really happening on your site. And you might have other analytics packages, maybe through your WordPress, maybe something else.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
But this is the standard, most recommended. It's given by Google. It's free. If I ask you, how many people are on your site today? And you don't know, then you have to use this tool to know. Otherwise, you have no idea. Is there 1 million people on your site or is there nobody? We have to know, and what they're doing too. And once you know what they're doing, you'll be able to change your site to make sure that they do more of what you need them to do, like buy things or go to the pages you need them to go to, things like this. You can come here through google.com/analytics. It will take you to this page. And by the way, they change design all the time. Don't worry about it if the design is different for you. The idea behind this tool is the same. In your case, you would say start for free. In my case, I would say sign into analytics. And by the way, you should set this up as early as possible on day one of your website. If you're new to this, they're going to take you through some steps to set up your website. Basically, they're going to give you a little code to verify that the site that you want to get data about is actually yours, because they just can't give you a site data randomly. They have to make sure that you own that site. And they'll give you also a little code to put on your website. The users won't see it. It will be behind the scenes, but that little code will be on your header tag of your HTML, and it will help Google get data about your site. I'll actually show you in a second how that code will look like. But first of all, if you're already signed in, like me, I sign into analytics, this button. If you're new, you start for free. When you start for free, you'll go through a few setup spots, but eventually when you sign in, you'll see something like this. See my website, Problemio here, and I've got real-time data on what's happening on my site. And on the left-hand panel, we have a lot of options because you can actually expand these, for example, audience, and boom, it gets complicated quickly. A lot of these are not that helpful. What we care about here is acquisition and behavior. First of all, acquisition, you go to overview and it tells you where the people who come to your site, where they come from. Are they coming from search, you see, or direct by typing into Google your URL or social media or referrals somehow? And you can tell actual hard data. So like, for example, one day I had 267 people come to my site. Another day it was 228. And you can drill down and you can even take a look at the searches. This is actually not as useful as before because your Google Webmaster gives you better search data. So we'll come out of this. For search data, you go to Google Webmaster. This is not really the tool. So that's acquisition. You basically tell hard metrics about your site. You want to know how many people came? Now you know. Now, what I really like to use this for is the behavior. What we're going to do is we're going to look at behavior overview. We'll be able to tell a little bit about what people are doing on our site. And you'll see the most visited page sites. So you get like page views on which pages. So I'll go to let's say the most visited one. And it tells us a few things right away about this page. It's going to tell us more in a second. I'll show you how to get there. But first, let's examine this. So we had 530 unique, 585 repeat total. So some are repeating. What's interesting is they are staying on this page for a long time. 5 minutes, over 5 minutes on average. That means they're reading. And what we also want to look at is this bounce rate. But the bounce rate here is deceiving. Bounce rate means generally that when they came to the page, and they just left, that's a bounce. And if they came to the page and they went to another page on the site, that's not a bounce. So a bounce is usually a negative because they came, they didn't like it, they left. Now, it could be because it's a content page. They came to the page, they liked it, they got what they needed, which is signaled by this 5-minute reading staying time, and they didn't need anything, so they left because they were satisfied. So you always want to look at the average time on the page together with the bounce rate. But bounce rate is a little high here, like 90% of the people are not going elsewhere on the site. And by the way, it can be also a sign that's good because, for example, if you have a link to some kind of a Amazon product or something like that, so they leave your site to the Amazon product, which you want because you want them to buy the Amazon product, it will still increase your bounce rate if they go there because they're leaving your site. But this metric won't be that good. So you kind of don't take this metric at face value, but do use it a little bit. So you can get more data than this because there's this pull down here, secondary dimension. Under more dimensions, you have different types of things. And I like to look at more behavior. So for example, what is this exit page? Like, where are they going? So they're going from this page to, sometimes they're clicking back on this page, which is a little strange. And I'll show you why this is like this, that it's business pitch and they're exiting to business pitch. Here's what really happens on this page. This is that page, and this is that business pitch template. So they get this. And then there's a table of contents of this very same page, so they can click it. For example, if they want the tutorial, boom, they go to this tutorial. And it's all in the same. If they go to longer business pitches, okay, longer business pitches. So it's actually sections. This page links to itself in different sections of this page, and that's why we see this behavior here. So people are using this a lot. So now that you understand why that's happening, let's get back to the analytics. So there's a couple of more things that I want to show you in analytics that I find interesting and helpful so that you can improve your site. And so what I went to is behavior, and I'm going to go to site content, and I'm going to go to, well, you can say all pages or landing pages. In my case, that's a very similar thing because most pages are landing pages that people come to. So let's say all pages. What is going to happen is you can really look at all your pages and you can see why do some pages have like a really high bounce rate. For example, you see number 8 has a really, really high bounce rate, and number 9 also has a high bounce rate. All above 90%, that's crazy, too high, right? And this one also has a high bounce rate. But this one, I'm sending people directly out. It's a page where I sell courses. So what happens, you go and you say, oh, okay, so this is a clue, like something is not good here. Although here people are reading a lot, almost 10 minutes per page. And here people are almost not reading anything. So there's actually a big difference in behavior. Same thing here, people are actually sticking around. But you get these clues and then you go, well, I'm getting some traffic to this page. I should fix it up because no one is spending time on this page. What's wrong with this page? Is there a bug? Is something like in the beginning poorly written? How can I fix this quickly so that I get more engagement on the page? And your goal is to have a decreased bounce rate and more pages browsed per session, because more engagement is going to mean that people are going to read more, click more ads, buy more things, eventually subscribe to your email list, do more things that you need them to do. So you'll ask me, well, how do I do these things? How do I decrease the bounce rate? How do I do this? Every page is different, of course. I can't give you a solution for every page, but some typical things are make the text more readable, make it more visual, make it easier to navigate, make it faster to load, make it more interesting. Things like this definitely help your engagement right away. So you go and you look at that page and you say, what's wrong with that page? And if you can't tell, ask somebody else. Other people are very good at giving criticism to things that aren't theirs. And this section of behavior in the analytics will give you clues what can be fixed. So that's how I use it. I use it for understanding which pages are lagging, which pages are not performing and not converting people at a high rate to do what I need them to do. And also I use this a little bit for acquisition to tell hard numbers of the visitors, but I don't look at it too much. Most useful for me is the behavior, because I can tell if something's not right about a page, I can tell from that data. And the acquisition, this is nice to tell how many people are visiting, but over a short period of time, there's not going to be a major difference. And so I don't look at it that much. I only look at it maybe like a couple of times every season. So like once every 2 or 3 months. But the behavior I look at more often, especially if I'm really trying to boost a page's behavior. Like some pages that I have are very lucrative and they sell things. And of course, I want people to dig down more deeply in those pages, engage with those pages, and the behavior area tells me and gives me clues as to what kind of things I can adjust. So that's how I'd recommend using this analytics.